What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Fantasy Pros. This is Leading Off Live, the Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Rico, joined today by my dear friend, Bubba, and we are going to be bringing you through all the headlines, all the news and notes, a couple injuries, a fun fact about my favorite pitcher in baseball, and actually a kind of a shorter injury report than usual, Bubba. It's been just a brutal gauntlet every time we've recorded over the last few weeks, but a fairly small injury report today, and an exciting prospect call-up. So I'm very much looking forward to wrapping up the week with you, my friend.
Yes, me as well. It's always good to chat. Fun little set of news, notes, and more. And yeah, injuries. It helped. We had a small Thursday of action. I'll say that much. That helped a ton. But yeah, we have a very important topic to get us started today, and it'll get the fantasy world and baseball world buzzing on Saturday.
Yeah, as it should. Kade Anderson getting the call from the Mariners. He will be making his Major League debut on Saturday. I saw some conflicting reports Saturday or Sunday. It looks like it's going to be Saturday. Either way, get him in your lineups if you can. Pick him up. Go on the waiver wire and see if he's still available. Somebody messaged me last night saying that he wasn't stashed in their league somehow. So you never know. Go take a look out there on your waiver wire. Kade Anderson has been doing some historic stuff in the minor leagues this year. He's the third pick in the 2025 draft. He has a 106 ERA over 93 innings, 135 strikeouts, and 13 walks on the season. It's been an unbelievably dominant year. And Vlad Sedler pointed this out on Twitter last night. He had one outing, he just got blown up, May 15th, 5 earned runs. Outside of that, like the ERA is already just barely over 1, and there's one really bad kind of blip start there. If not for that, the ERA would be like 0.4 or something like that. He looks like he's going to be a stud, Bubba. He's obviously got the pitcher's park that he's going to be going into. I'm pretty excited for Kade Anderson. The question is, are we fully unloading every remaining FAAB dollar we have to get him at this point?
Yeah, you are. Did my FAAB preview with Bloomfield on Bubba and the Bloom last night, and obviously Kade Anderson is the topic of conversation this weekend in the FAAB streets. We kind of narrowed it down to give yourself like $3 or $4 a week for the final 4 weeks after this week. That's kind of, so you're talking about unload the budget. That's where our brain is, because there's really nothing. Like if there's someone else that gets called up, shocker, okay, cool. But this is the one everyone's been waiting for when it comes to pitching. We saw Joshua Baez last week. That's a whole nother story right now. But Kade Anderson has been great. I think he's going to be awesome. I'm always a little cautious on these guys. It's all AA pitching. Hasn't got to AAA. Totally fine. I'm not saying he can't do it. But like the levels of talent that he's still crossing through here. But he's awesome. He's limited all the damage, as you mentioned. He's striking everybody out. Cubs team's not an easy walk in the park. But yeah, he's must-see TV. And hopefully the Mariners keep him going at least 5 innings like he was in the minors.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not really a soft landing for him with the Cubbies, who, if you look in the month of August, they have the 4th best offense in baseball, 30 home runs they've hit in August. I think we mentioned this on Wednesday's show, or maybe I mentioned it on the show with Jeff Erickson, actually, which will be coming out this evening, tomorrow morning, depending on when you're watching. But the Cubs are not an easy matchup right now. Let's say you pick him up. Are you starting him immediately? I feel like you kind of have to at this point with Kade Anderson, but maybe you don't. Maybe you just keep him on your bench for one start and see how he looks against major league hitters.
Yeah, in theory, you kind of have to, but he's definitely not a must start. I probably would not start him in this game. I'd add him to have him going forward, because that's what we want to see when it comes to Kade Anderson. But it's also like, okay, so the Mariners go 6-man now, which is probably what they should do. Does Bryce Miller go to the bullpen because he's been horrific? There's a lot of what ifs in this scenario, but so we mentioned he's got the Cubs on Saturday. Kade Anderson has at Toronto next weekend. Great matchup. No offense to you, Joe. That's a really good matchup.
Yeah.
Following weeks at home against a depleted A's offense. Pretty solid. He's been facing minor league hitters. There you go. But then it's at Sacramento the following week. So it's like one of those, and it's at Coors after that. So buckle up with your Kade Anderson schedule, but enjoy the good starts and just be cautious. I think the year of Kade Anderson's 2027. This is just a nice little taste before the year ends.
Yeah, and I think Toronto has been a little bit better as of late. They're like 13-6, 13-7 in their last 20. It is not because of the offense. I was writing an article last night and looking back. I really like to look in 3-week sample sizes for offensive production. That's a Kevin Hastings thing that he's bestowed upon me. But over the last 3 weeks, Toronto has a 91 WRC+. You can still stream against them, even though they've been a little bit better as of late. Maybe just pitch around Alejandro Kirk because he's been lighting the world on fire. But other than that, I don't think you really need to worry about the Blue Jays too much. Let's talk Jordan Walker. And Bubba, I'm going to give you the floor here in a second because he had a big day. He hit three-run homer. He added another RBI as well. You took him in the first round of the Meatball draft, and I want to get your take on this. I know you don't like it when we talk about the draft without you there.
I'm
You're
sure,
here
no,
now.
it's not without me there. I always say people. There's 15 people in the draft. Just get someone from the draft in there.
I'm just
I
giving you the
know.
gears. You know I
Yeah.
love you, buddy.
Yep.
Jordan Walker was a pick we talked about on Sleeper in the Bus yesterday, and it was probably the most, I don't want to say shocking, but the most surprising pick in the first round. Probably looking at it, Caminero, Judge, Witt, Wood, Soto, Tatis, Alvarez are all kind of expecting it. Ellie, Jose Ramirez, Jordan Walker. It's probably justified based on what he's done this year, but it still felt a little bit that sticker shock that we were talking about the other day. So you have the floor. Why is Jordan Walker a first round pick in 2027?
And sticker shock is the name of a lot of these picks that we have issues with. And I actually listened to the Sleeping List about an hour before this show, so I am well versed on what took place on that show. I don't disagree because yeah, it is a surprise. Jordan Walker wasn't even drafted in most leagues this year. He's one of the top waiver wire like ads the entire season. So I totally get that's quite the jump that people will talk about that weren't in the first round. Heck, he wasn't in the first 27 rounds of most drafts this year. But it's kind of an accumulation of things. It's the talent that we've always thought Jordan Walker had. It's a guy that's likely going to go 30 plus home runs, 20 plus steals. Maybe he has like a 35-25 potential in him. These are all what ifs. This is what we're doing this time of the year. It's also a 24-year-old. And I've always been a guy, and my co-host Bloomfield, he's way more cautious, wants to see it once or twice, and I get it to an extent, but I've also changed the way I view things these days because the world of baseball we live in now is becoming much of a younger man's sport. We're seeing these prospects come up and they do things, and the fact he's 24, who's to say he's not finding his world? PCA went first overall. We went into last draft season thinking he was like nothing because of that second half, and he's probably worth it now. Is Jordan Walker a first round pick? I think so. Is he going to be that way by many? Probably not, but it's the argument that can be had, especially when guys after him, like I've never been an Ellie guy. I agree. I understand if people like Ellie. That's fine. But like CJ Abrams, absolutely love him. He's having a career year just like Jordan Walker. I'd rather have Jordan Walker in the outfield than CJ Abrams. J Ram, love him. I think he's still very great floor, solid. He's getting old. Injuries are adding up. Be careful. Jackson Churio doesn't run like Jordan Walker can run. Corbin Carroll doesn't have the power like Jordan Walker could run, always hurt. So like when we're looking at the outfield pockets, Julio Rodriguez, that is your closest comp is where I'll give you because he's been a 30-30 guy to me. But it's all kind of in the eye of the beholder. It's like the Lord of the Rings, my precious. So it depends on how you want to look at it. And I understand so many people are like, look at the BABIP spikes. He still hits the ball on the ground a lot. Like a lot of these things, I fully understand. But this is also a potential 5-category stud. Jordan Walker, the comp I think I made on my show with Ryan on Tuesday. Jordan Walker could be what everyone in the first round in the past years wanted Kyle Tucker to be. That's who Jordan Walker can be. And no one blinked an eye at a first round Kyle Tucker. So I want to at least throw that out.
Yeah. I mean, I think you've laid it out really well. And the comp that Sporer keeps making is Derek Lee.
Yeah.
And physically, you could see it. Statistically, you could see it. Derek Lee was a guy who would hit 30 plus homers. He had a 46 home run season. He'd chip in between 10 and 20 steals there in his peak years. He'd give you a good batting average. I could definitely see that outcome. And I don't hate the pick. I think,
No.
and honestly, it's so early to love or hate any pick, and that's part of the exercise here. You guys are totally flying blind. There's no ADP. There's no rankings. Guys can get hurt over the next 2 months of the season. Guys could come out of nowhere and look great. It's the hardest draft that will take place throughout the year. I think Walker's probably more of a second rounder,
Which is
but I
fair.
but I don't have a huge problem with it. He's giving you 26 homers. He's already pushing close to 100 RBI already. He's got the steals. He's hitting for average. And something that I've looked at a lot more over the last couple of years is bat speed. His bat speed in each of the last couple of seasons has gained about a mile an hour, 77.3 up to 78.1. And then he gained another mile an hour this year, going up to 79.2, which is like 99th or 100th percentile, almost an 80 mile an hour bat speed. There's a ton of talent here. And if he continues to progress, and next year, if Jordan Walker, this might be a crazy take, but if Jordan Walker is like the National League MVP in 2027, it wouldn't be overly surprising if he continues that progression. Super hyped prospect. I think it was my first or second year going out to Arizona that he was the talk of the fall league, and it looks like it's finally paid off this year for Jordan Walker. So don't mean to give you any trouble there.
No, you know what that sounds like? I'm hearing you're buying in. Like we need to go on Shark Tank and do a fantasy baseball Shark Tank. That's what we need to do right here.
I'll give you $100,000 for 10% of your Jordan
And I
Walker.
totally understand how this one can fall flat on its face. I get it, but I'm shooting for more the ceiling play here than the floor with him.
It's also worth noting that last year in this draft in the first round, Bubba took Junior Caminero, took a bunch of crap from people, and that paid out pretty well for Bubba. And I believe Bubba is a previous winner of this
I
league
won
as
the very
well.
first one.
Yeah.
This is the fifth year. I won the very first year. So yes.
So Bubba does know what he's talking about, people. I'm not trying to give him crap here, but
Oh, I get no.
I
I think it's healthy conversation. That's why
no,
it's very
absolutely.
interesting to see because I agree that you can make arguments for a bunch of players in the back end of the first round right now.
It'll be interesting to see over the next couple months if Jordan Walker does finish out as a first round pick, if he is getting drafted there regularly. I think worse, he's a top 20 pick in
Mm-hmm.
2027 drafts. Whatever happens down the stretch here, but it's time that we talk about a Blue Jay. We've lasted 11 minutes here, so let's get to Shane Bieber, who had a really good night last night, and it's a second consecutive really good one. This one was against the Rays, 7 innings of one-run ball while striking out seven. And if you look on the graphic we have here on screen, over his last two outings, it's only 2 runs and 13 innings of work for Shane Bieber. Is he back? Is he back in the circle of trust? Because he's been so far away from the circle of trust this season. But these last couple starts, coming on the verge of fantasy playoffs, I feel like people are going to start to buy in, but should they?
Yeah, that's been my conundrum. Like when I saw his stat line yesterday after I got off of work, and I was like, wow, like he just did it again, and it's back to back starts because throughout this kind of comeback season, it's either gets blown up, he throws well, and then he gets blown up. Like it's never like consistent with Bieber so far, or he's a bunch of walks. There's no strikeouts. Every start has it's like a box of chocolates with Shane Bieber right now, and to see two in a row is very very interesting with the Biebs. But like over the last month, it's a 3.66 ERA, a 1.22 WHIP, a 4.5 xERA, so it suggests a little luck, but still 4.5. It's a quality start. Love it or hate it. That's life. But the part that gets me is so the last 31 days, last month, and you mentioned the last two starts, we've seen the 12 Ks to one walk. But if we take a little larger sample here, it's still a 9% K to walk. It's still a 40% ball rate. So that's not what we want to see command wise. And obviously, it's been helped by a 6 walk effort. I'm not going to deny that. But it's an 8.5% swinging strike. Like in his start yesterday, or his last two starts, the two dominating starts, it was still a 35% ball rate, so increased, but only a 9.7% swinging strike. He's not dominating per se, and a lot of fly balls, but he does look better, to your question. I am not fully bought in. I am still terrified of Shane Bieber because he just doesn't seem dominant, but he seems not bad. I'll go that route. And he gets Kansas City next week, which is very enticing. So if you want to stream Biebs for now, won't be fully opposed to it.
Yeah, just looking at it, we're seeing nothing can change, of course, but as of now, Kansas City, Cleveland at the Athletics, which will be a hard
That's a
no go
big
for
no.
me.
Big no.
The biggest no we're going to give on the show for
Yeah.
quite some time, probably. And then at home to Detroit is the one after that. So you probably start him against Detroit. I guess you see what happens against Kansas City and Cleveland. But even if he throws a perfect game in both of those, I'm not sure I would start him in Sacramento.
No, not a
But
chance.
he's on the road back to trusting him. If he continues, giving you these type of outings, maybe not necessarily this dominant every time out, but let's say he finishes the last month with like a mid threes ERA, 1-2 type of whip. Will he be somebody that you think can return to his previous form next year? Would you be drafting Shane Bieber thinking that you might be getting a Cy Young again at some point, or do you think those days are behind us?
I think the Cy Young days are gone. I don't think that's happening. Again, you never know. Like things could happen. He's
No.
coming off the surgery. It's usually the second year, but he'll be 32 next year. We know how that slowly starts to go. He could still be very good. Like he's more of an SP3 for fantasy wise for me. I don't know if the Cy Young is going to ever be there, but he could still be very, very serviceable. He's not quite Aaron Nola yet. I'll go that far if you want to use those kind of comps. But he's working his way that direction, which still means he's very serviceable in the right streaming environment. So not a complete trash on him.
Let's talk about another pitcher in Grant Holmes, a guy who was flirting with a no-no for a little while yesterday. I think he took it into the sixth inning, ended up allowing one hit. I believe he walked three. And there's been an up and down season for Grant Holmes, but 3 of his last 4 outings have been scoreless. 6 shutout innings against Miami, 6 shutout innings in the Bronx. He had a really bad one against Arizona, and then 6 shutout against the White Sox yesterday. Overall, I mean, the whip is problematic. It's almost like early season Cade Cavalli in a sense, because you're getting decent ERAs, but they're coming with like a 130 whip. But at the same time, he hasn't given up more than 3 earned runs outside of that previous one, it was May 1st was the previous real blow up start he had. So are we trusting Grant Holmes at this point, Bubba? I know it is, playoffs or approaching fantasy playoffs, or maybe you're already in there. Next start is the Dodgers. After that, at Washington. After that, versus Tampa. The Dodgers haven't been great though recently. I wonder, are you willing to start him against the Dodgers?
In a deep league, you'll start him. In a 12 team or shallower, it definitely depends on what you have because Grant Holmes he's been this guy all year, and even last draft season, people had the same conundrums with him. It's ERA 3.64 on the year. Last month 3.45, awesome. But as you mentioned, it's a 1.32 WHIP on the season, 1.24 over the last month, which the last month's palatable. You can live with that. But he doesn't do a lot of things that woo you. It's an 8% K to walk on the season. Which is really strange, Joe, because he has a 12.6% swinging strike on the season. That should equate to closer to a 24 to 25% K rate. He has an 18% K rate. So he's not finishing things off, which is quite frustrating. Gives up the long ball just enough to tilt you. He's a roller coaster ride. That's what Grant Holmes is. And more often than not, as you've noticed, you'll survive. But you're in the playoffs right now. I would try to go other directions if possible. That's the next couple of matchups are very, very challenging.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers over the last few weeks, they're at 94 WRC plus. They have a sub 300 on base rate as a team,
Yep,
and
you can
yet
you can attack them for sure.
and the thing though, like I feel pretty confident attacking them, but a guy of Grant Holmes' talent level, he give up 8 earned runs. Anybody can give up 8 earned runs against the Dodgers. It's just even when a team like that is struggling, just given the talent in their lineup, it still worries me on any given day, which any team can get you on any given day, but the Dodgers in particular, it's a little bit scary. So maybe set him for that one, unless you really, really need to start him. A couple of housekeeping things I forgot to get out of the way at the top, but we are giving away a $50 store code. We gave away the previous 2 giveaways on the last show. But we have a new giveaway here. If you want a chance to win the $50 Fantasy Pro shop code and snag some of our new leading off swag, then this is your shot. To enter, just leave a comment on any of our Twitch streams at twitch.tv/fantasypros. And as always, the Twitch subscribers get a 1.5 times odd boost at winning, just as a thank you for your support. We're also doing a 3-day free trial for Fantasy Pros Premium. You can unlock all Fantasy Pros tools at fantasypros.com/free. Sync your leagues to see exactly how you optimize your roster and win your week. Get full access to the waiver assistant, trade analyzer, and more. So start your free trial now at fantasypros.com/free and experience the ultimate edge. It's time to talk Ian Seymour, and he's a guy we did a live show here that Bubba was on in the preseason. I guess it was before the preseason. It was more the end of last year in Arizona. Brought on a bunch of different people to talk about their favorite picks of the year, and Frank Stanfield highlighted Ian Seymour, and a lot of us were on board. It looked like he was going to be fantastic this year, and then he didn't get his job in the rotation to start the year, allowed 5 earned runs in relief in the first day of the season. It looked like a disaster. But Ian Seymour, over the last couple of months, has looked really, really good, really ramping up the strikeouts. A little bit of a tough outing yesterday against the Blue Jays, gave up 3 home runs, but they were all solo shots. He did strike out 8, and the strikeout totals have been incredible for Ian Seymour. I'm a huge fan, and I think that going into next year, he'll be one of my favorite players to draft. I feel like the surface stats might keep some people away still. You're looking at an ERA that starts with a 4. The whip is still actually the whip has come down to 114. So maybe he's not going to be as cheap as I'm hoping for, but mostly just wanted to highlight how good Ian Seymour has been and how stupid the Rays were for not just starting the year with him in the rotation, Bubba.
Yeah, he's been outstanding. Went in round 11 of that meatball draft. I think that's going to go higher once season comes around next year. So that's a heck of a pick by Ryan Roof. Just to highlight even just the recent run, you mentioned the last couple of months, last month, 2.94 ERA, 1.1 whip, which the Rays love to do with like He has the Rasmussen bloodline going right now. But more impressively, it's a 31% carry to a 4% walk. For the quick math majors, it's a 27% K to walk with a 14.4% swinging strike, Joe. He's just been electric. He gives up a ton of fly balls, but if they're not touching it, doesn't matter. He is that good, and I think he's going to be quite intriguing next season.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like a big stuff god guy coming into the year, 95 stuff, 96 pitching plus, and we were still interested in now those numbers. And stuff is not the be all and end all, but he's gained 8 points on his stuff. His pitching plus has gone up from 96 to 101. I really like the arsenal. I really like the park to pitch in as well. There's a lot to like about Ian Seymour. The only thing is just the Rays. Just please make him a starter from opening day on, and don't take him out of the rotation. That's all we're asking for. We're not asking a lot here. but just really hope that we get 30 starts at Ian Seymour next year. It's Gavin Williams time, though, and I want to give Bubba a hat tip here because you were all in on Gavin Williams. I remember leading off with you down the stretch last year talking about Gavin Williams, who had a good year results-wise. It was a low threes ERA, but a high whip and still some inconsistencies. He figured it out down the stretch in 2025, and in 2026, he has been amazing. 11 strikeouts yesterday against the Giants, 2 earned runs over 5 2/3 innings. And if you are watching here on YouTube, you'll see the most outings of 10 plus strikeouts this year. Jacob Mizorowski, surprising nobody, is number one. And then tied at number two, Dylan Cease and Gavin Williams. 9 double digit strikeout games for him this year, Bubba. Give yourself a pat on the back because you were all over this one.
I appreciate that every once in a while. Blind squirrel finds nut, whole thing like that. But yeah, the other cool factor, I had to read the graphic for a minute there. He also is the third player to 200 Ks this season, joining the Miz and Cease. So he's been so good. Improvements, and it's kind of like pitching is a game where once that guy the guy finds out his pitch mix and his I guess release point. Some of these guys are super talented, and Gavin Williams is showing that. 'Cause we saw glimpses of it last year. This year, it's impressive watching him deal.
He's been great, and I think that price is going to be top 50 pick.
Bloomfield got him at the second pick of round 4 on Tuesday night, and I thought that's his SP1 because he waited a little bit on pitching. I think that's pretty good, and it might go a little higher once things really get figured out in March.
Once pitching gets pushed up, maybe a third rounder, something like that.
That's basically like pick 47, 48. I think he's in the third round for sure if he finishes this year healthy. And yeah, he's their SP1, and he's in SP1 in fantasy.
Yeah, I can't push back on that. I wish I had more shares. I wish I forecasted this the way that you did. I want to shout out Van Rod, who gave out a community sub. Really appreciate Van Rod, one of the most loyal listeners on the show here. So thank you for that. And Fabi Davis Jr. also followed. Great name, by the way, Fabi Davis Jr. That's awesome stuff. We've seen you around in the comments for a while. I don't think I've ever given you a shout out before, but really appreciate the community here. If you guys want to help out, like, subscribe, follow, do all that stuff. After you're done watching here, go watch it on YouTube and then go listen on the podcast feed, and you can hear us 3 times throughout the day. I'm not expecting you to actually do that, but really appreciate everybody who listens in the various spots. We really do appreciate that here. We've talked about a lot of good performances so far. It's time to get to a clunker. George Kirby was absolutely lit on fire by the Brewers. 6 earned runs in the first inning. He did end up going 3 in the third, but that does not really salvage the line so much. A 4.18 ERA and a 1.36 whip on the season, Bubba. I think we talked about George Kirby a few weeks ago, and my opinion is not getting rosier as the weeks go on here. I thought that he was like one of my bold predictions this year was George Kirby, American League Cy Young. That is obviously not going to happen. And I'm starting to think that George Kirby is not even somebody that I really want to be invested in, given the lack of strikeouts, given we thought the whip was safe. The whip is not apparently safe. I'm kind of out of the George Kirby business at this point.
Yeah, welcome to the team. I've always been out on the George Kirby business. So Ryan's been Team Kirby, so that's a battle every offseason with me and Bloom. But it's just you mentioned one big part for me is the lack of strikeouts. It's a ton of pitch to contact. He doesn't have like blow you away stuff. What used to be his calling card was his command, and that's slowly deteriorating as well this year. So it's kind of a combination of the two. And like you mentioned, it's 3 of the last 5 starts, at least 5 runs. He has basically allowed, I think it's like 16 runs in those 3 starts. He has a 7.12 ERA and a 1.71 whip over the last month. On the season, it's a 1.36 whip, which is not what you signed up for with George Kirby. So it's brutal. Their whole team is scuffling, offense, pitching. But like Bryce Miller, George Kirby, there's a reason we started the show with a call-up to try to spice things up in Seattle.
I mean, looking at this pitching staff from where they were like a year ago, it's like one of the best pitching staffs ever assembled, probably. And now you got Wu, hurt, not great. Kirby, hurt, not really hurt. He was hurt last year, not great this year. Castillo, gone. Bryce Miller, not even sure what the real Bryce Miller is. Hurt, and then looking amazing, and then terrible again. Logan Gilbert is the only one still standing there that we would have thought a year ago, yeah, this is the best rotation in baseball. They're not anymore. They certainly are not anymore. Maybe they will become one again with Anderson and Sloan, but it's been a very bad year for Seattle. For both teams in the American League Championship Series last year, it's been a really, really bad season.
Yep.
Matt McLain, we'll mention Matt McLain. It's funny, yesterday I recorded with Jeff Erickson, Reds fan. I wore my Matt McLain t-shirt for that game, and what does Matt McLain do? He hits a grand slam in a loss to the Cardinals. Now he's got 12 homers, he's got 15 steals, but he just creeped up over the Mendoza line again yesterday. The stat line for the season is almost comically bad. He has 33 RBI, he only has 46 runs. A little bit of fantasy juice with the 12 and 15, and he's still got a 10% barrel rate. Bat speed is up from last year, 69.7 to 71.6, but I wonder, is there any interest in Matt McLain anymore? Is he going to be, a buy dirt cheap next season, just considering how bad second base is? It's still a good ballpark. It's a decent lineup around him. Are you still going to be willing to take a chance on him? Because I feel like I probably will. The price is going to be so cheap. I'll probably have a couple shares.
Yes, I will definitely be invested. I actually mentioned to on last night's FAAB show to kind of look in to see if he's available. Like, you don't have to play him every week, but at least in Cincinnati. And it's more
Yeah.
importantly, it's like, yeah, the season as a whole has been really bad for Matt McLain. But since he came off the IL July 30th, it's 76 plate appearances. He's hitting 239, which I know is not great, but you just mentioned on the season he has got over 200. Like, so we'll
Yeah.
live with 239. And that's with a 279 BABIP. So, like, there's unluckiness there. 4 homers, 4 steals over that stretch, which we're back to we thought we'd have a 2020 guy on our hands. A 111 WRC plus. His defense, I can't remember the tweet I saw, has actually been really good. That's why they've kept him in the lineup this long.
Mm.
He's a young player. He's had the injuries. Like, who's to say who he really is? We don't know. But I think he's a lot better than what we've seen. And we're starting to see glimpses of that this past, 3 weeks or so since he's been back. And I will be buying low unless something catastrophic happens in September.
Feels like another lifetime ago where Matt McLain was the biggest riser in the preseason and he was going up 15, or not 15 rounds, but like 50 picks, 70 picks because of his spring training stats. And yeah, it feels like we're in a different universe. We got a couple questions. Let's get to them here. It is a Friday, so let's have some fun. Joe G, friend of the show, 2027, Gavin Williams or Chris Sanchez. Holy crap! I got to go Chris Sanchez still, but it's closer than I would have thought.
100%. It is still Chris Sanchez, but that is extremely close. And honestly, I wouldn't argue you if you went Gavin Williams in that respect, but I'm still going to go Christopher Sanchez.
Yeah, Sanchez, like the whip has actually been surprisingly not great this year. It's over 1.2. Now, he's been buoyed on player raters by the fact that he has 16 wins and a ton of strikeouts, and the ERA is still good, but that whip is a silent killer for the
Yep.
SP4 in draft season. I mean, you drafted Scooble, it's worked out, even though he missed some time with the injury. Skeens, brutal. Crochet, brutal. Sanchez has hurt your whip, although he has helped you overall. Not a great year for drafting pitchers in the first round in 2026. This one will be directed right for Bubba. We actually posted a video on our socials last night along these lines. Which SP would you prefer rest of season, Bubba? Jacob Webb or your guy Ben Joyce?
I'll take Ben Joyce. I think Webb is outstanding. It's really close. If you were to tell me Webb has the job the entire season, I might stick with Webb. I'm going to go Joyce. He won't go back to backs, but he's been very, very good. Palencia is getting activated from the IL on Friday. I still think Webb keeps the job for now. That could change at some time. Just remember last year, Keller kept the closing gig when Palencia came back for the rest of the season. So anything can happen in Chicago. Webb's been outstanding, though. Nothing against him. I'll take Joyce, who has the job, though, for sure.
I think that's a cosign for me as well. I like Webb, but I think Joyce is your guy there. We talked about him on that show with Jeff Erickson as well. I've promoted it into the ground at this point, but make sure you guys check that one out. It'll be out later tonight on the YouTube, and I think tomorrow morning we're going to aim for on the podcast feed. Game over. Eugenio Suarez, Austin Riley, or Nolan Arenado rest of season. I mean, the fact that Arenado's even in this group again is a testament to how good he's been over the last month or so. I don't have a super strong feel here. I think maybe I'd go Suarez, but I don't really feel strongly, to be honest.
Yeah, can you play matchups? No. If I had to pick one, I'd go Suarez, but yeah, I have no real strong take here. They're all going to have their like 3 games where you're like, oh, they're back, and then they're going to have like a week that just makes you want to bang your head against the wall. So be prepared. And at least Suarez
Suarez,
gets Great American for half his games.
yeah, he had a good stretch. I have him in my home league, and I was just looking at him the other day. Like over the last month, it's like, oh, he's hit 7 homers. And, yeah, he's hitting 191 during that stretch as well. So you take the good with the bad, and it's mostly been not great, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. Griffin Conine or Cole Carrick rest of the season. We've both been Conine fans. There is some worries, I think, about some of the plate discipline metrics, but for straight power, Conine's been amazing. I think I'm going Conine here. I think I'm going Conine.
I'm going to go Conine too. Carrick's very good. Nothing against Carrick. Just Conine jumps off the page for fantasy purposes, at least for now.
Yeah, I like them both, and honestly, the Rockies have surprised me a little bit. It's been a pretty solid year for random Rockies value. Rumfield has been pretty good. There's been a couple of guys that have popped up here and there that have actually provided value on the Rockies. Moniak's had a good season.
Mhm.
Most of the last few years that I've been doing the analyst thing, the Rockies have been just you avoid them. You don't even need to really cover them at all. But this year, things have changed a little bit to their credit.
Yep.
Max Clark or Griffin Conine rest of season. I got to go Conine there.
It's Conine pretty easily. Clark's going to be a good story. He's hit the rookie wall after 3 weeks. He had a great series in Sacramento, and it's kind of been like he's good, but I think he's got a little bit farther to go.
Yeah. Mason Montgomery or Justin Martinez. I got to go Mason Montgomery there.
Yeah, it's
I,
Montgomery
l-
for sure.
I really like Martinez. Like last year, I drafted a ton of Justin Martinez, but Montgomery's skill set is so great, and I think that the job is probably his. I think he has 2 saves in the last 2 weeks, or 3 saves in the last 2 weeks, and it seems like he is the hot hand. So I would go with Mason Montgomery. Any hope for Charlie Condon? Probably not this year. I don't think he's going to do much for fantasy teams this year. Heading into next year, I know Welsh has been a fan. He's talked about him on prospecting with the Welsh. He'll be on a few of my teams.
Yeah, there's hope for him in the future because like there's nowhere for him to play right now. That's like even Zach Veen's in a platoon, which is comical. So there's nothing you can do there.
And one more here from Joe. Cam Smith or Lawrence Butler in a deep roto. I am more partial to Cam Smith. Butler's been good recently. If you wanted to go Butler, I don't really hate it, but I personally like Smith more as a player. What do you think here, Bubba?
I'm going Law Dog, Lawrence
Yeah.
Butler on that one. Gets the Sacramento games. He's actually played phenomenally over like the last month. Cam Smith, he's streaking in the right direction. Won't deny that, but it's been another disappointing season in Cam Smith's world.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give him a mulligan there. It's being so young and being the centerpiece of a big trade and having to change positions. I'm still a fan of Cam Smith for next year, but I don't have any problems if you guys wanted to go with Lawrence Butler right now. He's been really good. Guys, I want to remind you about my playbook. It is still late in the year. We get it. Like there's not a lot of time left, and I think a lot of people are set in their ways of this is how I've been managing my team this year. This is how I'm going to continue to manage my team this year. But check out my playbook. You can manage your fantasy baseball lineups and dominate your leagues with my playbook here at Fantasy Pros. It's a suite of powerful tools to help you make better decisions, manage your lineups, and win your leagues. You can import your team to get custom fantasy baseball news, rankings, and analysis. So sync your leagues today at fantasypros.com/MLB My Playbook or download the Fantasy Pros app. Let's talk Jacob deGrom. I teased it at the top, but he became the second fastest pitcher in Major League history to reach 2,000 strikeouts. The only guy who beat him there was Chris Sale by about 35, 36 innings. And it's a pretty good leaderboard here. Yu Darvish, pretty surprising to me that Yu Darvish is third on this list, followed by Pedro Martinez, your boy Garrett Cole, and then the big unit, Randy Johnson. Jacob deGrom had an amazing start yesterday with 6 innings. I think it was 1 hit, 10 strikeouts. A guy actually messaged me in my Patreon chat saying, Jacob deGrom just hit the waiver wire in my league. Should I pick him up? I was like, yep. Pick him up right now. Doesn't matter, even if he doesn't has a bad start tonight. Like deGrom should obviously not be available anywhere. He's had a bit of a rough stretch, and obviously he showed what he's still capable of yesterday. My question, Bubba, at this point is Jacob deGrom locked in as a Hall of Famer? In my mind, if I had a vote, I'm putting him on my ballot. He's getting a check on the ballot. I think he's the best pitcher, talent-wise, that we've seen in the last decade. But will he have the accumulative numbers? Getting to 2,000 strikeouts is obviously a positive for him, but growing up for me, the number was always 3,000 strikeouts. So, are the voters will they have adapted enough by the time deGrom's on the ballot, probably 7 or 8 years from now, that they'll put him in the Hall? You think?
They should. The key thing you mentioned adapted. There used to always be 3,000 K or 300 wins and 500 home run. There's like
Yeah,
benchmarks that the game's so different now. You can't go that direction. You mentioned one of the best pitchers we've seen. DeGrom at his peak was the closest thing we've seen since Pedro Martinez. Like
yeah.
that's like it was that good when he was rolling. So yeah, I'm with you. He should be in the Hall of Fame. I hopefully the voters continue to adapt to the changes.
24 starts this year of a 3.77 ERA, 113 whip. It hasn't been as good of a year as last year, but still very good. He's got the strikeouts even higher than he did last year. And the career numbers, it's a 2.66 ERA, and it's a 1 whip on the nose with a 30% strikeout rate. Over 1,666 innings, it's 272 starts, but 105 wins is about a third of what you would have needed 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, to get into the Hall of Fame. So it'll be interesting to monitor. Let us know down below. What do you guys think? Is Jacob deGrom Hall of Famer? My vote is yes. I'm obviously biased. He's probably my favorite pitcher that I've ever watched, but for me, he's a Hall of Famer. Let's do some 3 up and 3 down. Garrett Mitchell, 3 for 4 with a big fly, a couple doubles, a couple runs, and 3 RBI. Massive game from him. Anthony Kay, 6 innings of 2-run ball with 6 strikeouts against the Bravos. And then Bobby Witt Jr., maybe a little bit of a disappointing year for him as a whole as a top 3 pick, but 2 for 4 with a homer and 3 runs scored. Bubba, any thoughts on any of the ups there?
It's good to see Mitchell have a good game. He's been so bad of late. He's in a strict platoon. Kay's been sneaky good from time to time, but Bobby Witt, he has heated up over the last few weeks, and he's going to finish the season just reminding everybody why he's still one of the top picks in fantasy baseball, while so many were so over him for a while.
Yeah, I think Bobby Witt, honestly, has a case as the first overall pick in drafts next year. We were talking about this on Sleeper in the Bus yesterday. P. Crow Armstrong went first in the early draft. If somebody wanted to go Shohei, they're not going to get pushback. If somebody wanted to go Bobby Witt Jr., I wouldn't give them any pushback either. Are those the big three, you think? Or you think somebody will take Judge number 1 or Soto or Wood? Or how do you expect that 101 to go next year?
I think it's going to go those top 3. The PCA thing will be interesting. I think more Ohtani's than PCA will take place.
Yeah.
I have no problem with it because I gave my case on Ohtani with the knees and the lack of running. Like, there's reasons, but he's still awesome. Like, I'm not going to deny it. Judge is the only one that'll make it interesting if he does come back and puts together like 2 to 3 weeks in September that makes people go, oh, that's right, that dude. That might change things, but he's old and he's breaking down, so I'm skeptical of that as well. So it should be the core 3 of PCA, Ohtani, and Witt for now.
Lee saying Yordan over Judge. Yordan, I think this was the year to buy Yordan Alvarez.
Yes,
when he was a 4th round pick. He's going to be a 1st round pick next year. He might even be a top 5 or 6 pick if he wins the Triple Crown. I don't know if I want to invest at the peak price for a guy who has knees that are probably 10 years older than he is at this point. And to his credit, he's actually been healthier than I think people give him credit for. If you look at the game logs over the last several years, last year is really the only true washout, but there's still something that doesn't feel great about using your 1st round pick on him. So I think I'm going to be more fading him in the first. I want to mention one more name, though, as a potential for the 101, and Jacob Mizorowski. Could he go number 1 in a couple drafts, you think, NFBC drafts?
He will. He will if he finishes September healthy. I will be far away from the Miz because there's this track record from Dr. Dave that is pretty undefeated. And I'm not going to say what it is out loud because I don't wish this upon anybody, especially Miz, who we get to watch face Chris Sale today in a matinee. Like, these are the things we live for as baseball fans and fantasy baseball players. There's also reality, Joe. And it's like, I'm not going to be shocked when that note comes across on my Twitter feed.
It's not going to feel good when it happens. No. It will eventually happen, but that's the thing. Yeah. I mean, it happens for even guys who throw like 94 miles an hour. So you throw 104, it's going to happen. Do you want to be the one holding the bag the year it happens, having spent the 101 on him?
That's the thing. It's the 101 part. That's the thing.
Yeah. If he's like end of the 1st round, I could talk myself into it.
Yes,
but
agreed.
101 it might be a little bit rich for my blood. ADD brain, let's get back to the downs. Peter Lambert, holy crap, 9 earned runs over 3 2/3 against the Angels of all teams. The Angels who have been putrid offensively in August. A 52 WRC plus in August going into yesterday. 9 earned runs. Gauge jump, I'm done at this point. 5 earned runs on 8 hits and 3 walks over 4 innings against the Royals. Like, we saw so many nice little flashes from Gauge jump, and it looked like he was going to be one of these Adam down the stretch league winner types. It has not panned out that way at all, Bubba. Is there any hope for you still to hold on to him or stream him, or are you jumping off the train with me?
Yeah, I have so many shares of Gauge Jump, and I went on my FAAB show last night getting ready to tell Ryan I'm moving on from Gauge Jump, and I stopped myself because I looked at his upcoming schedule, and yes, I won't throw him in Sacramento. That's not allowed. It's just not happening. But the following week, Joe, it's at Texas and at Seattle, 2 of the best matchups you could have for left-handed pitching. And I will be a sucker probably on that one for one last. Now, if that burns me, the whole ship sinks. But I'm going to at least go down with Flames on that one.
Iceberg, dead ahead.
Yes.
No, it's it looks pretty good. I mean, at Texas, at Seattle, and then after that, it's against Seattle again, what he's lined up for. So maybe a hold on. You're saying there's a chance.
It looks really good.
You're saying there's a chance. CCD, ADD brain. No, it's not ADP brain also. That'll come around in the winter. But yeah, if you ever notice me bouncing around all over the place, that's the unmedicated ADD going around in my brain. One more on the downs. Drew Gilbert, 0 for 3 with 3 Ks. I usually like to find a golden sombrero. There was no golden sombrero. I felt bad picking on Drew Gilbert, but it is what it is. I wanted to find a hitter on the downs, and we'll move on to the injuries, which are actually not too bad today, but we'll start with Ketel Marte, where we started the show the other day. What a saga this has been. He'll go to the IL with a knee issue. The D-backs expect him to rejoin the team once he is healthy. The team president also made some, I think it was the president or president of baseball operations, somebody in a high-level role said they don't know what's going on here. It's bizarre to them, too. So are we holding him? I know we asked this question a couple days ago. Now that we have the clarity, quote unquote, of the IL, I don't know if he's worth holding at this point. I don't know
Yeah,
what to do here.
yeah, this is one of those. I'm likely dropping at this point. I get it; it could burn me in 2 seconds, but he actually wasn't playing that well before he went
Yeah.
on this hiatus. And our good buddies Bogman and Welsh, maybe you guys have heard of them. They are both Arizona guys, and they let off their show on Thursday with a rant on this. And they mentioned a fact that I didn't even know because we've heard a bunch of weird things. The night before Cattell went MIA in Boston, he was seen at the hotel bar at 11 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on there that we aren't privy to. And this is about the same type of IL stint as Edwin Diaz has right now. Like, just go away for at least 10 days. So I don't know if we see Cattell again because more of like I'll just kind of listen to what Bogman and Welsh said, but they also prefaced it to like a lot of the players now that Cattell's out have kind of their tone has changed. Like Corbin Carroll and some of that, they're all fed up with it. So I don't even know if he's welcome back in the locker room right now. So
Well, there
just
was
be wary.
the whole thing from last year about, oh, he's going back to the DR and his home got broken into or something like that. It's like, okay, if there's one weird incident like that, people will forgive you. If it keeps happening and happening with the performance declining, it felt like Cattell was going to get traded last offseason. I'd be shocked if he enters spring training as a Diamondback. I'd be floored. If there's a way to bet against that happening, I'll see if there's a market out there for it somewhere.
Agreed.
Let's get to the home run board and take a look at what we have going on today. And I believe High Cubby is doing pretty damn well if you see at the top of the board there. 53 with the next highest totals being 46, 46, 45, 43. So the 2 through 10 spots, really, even 2 through 11 are only separated by a couple of homers. But you guys are going to have to get a couple of 3 home run games here to catch up to High Cubby down the stretch. Bubba, where are you going today for your home run call? And I guess for the weekend as well.
Yeah, I love your pick. I picked him on Wednesday. Worked out very well. So I wish you knew the best on that one. But
Stolen.
I'm going to go back to Mr. 1.1 as he heads into Seattle. If I'm not mistaken, I thought PCA is a Pacific Northwest person. I could be totally wrong on this, but for some reason that rings a bell with me. But PCA is white hot. Emerson Hancock and the entire Seattle situation, not so much. So I'm going to take my chances with PCA leading off in Seattle, and it's the late game of the evening. So if you're on the East Coast, get a cup of coffee or espresso martini, whatever you prefer, and get ready for the evening when PCA goes deep.
Espresso martinis are pretty tasty, actually. I'm not a huge martini person, but I find when you're late to the game, your friends have been drinking and you're getting there late, you need to catch up. You have a couple espresso martinis, you're gonna catch up pretty quickly.
Joe, how often are you actually late to the game, though?
Not as often as I should be, but
Sorry,
mention here. No, you're totally correct. If anybody comes out to Arizona, you'll know exactly
that's
what
what I was
Bubba's talking
referring
about.
to.
You'll know exactly what Bubba's talking about. No mention of Neto in the 3 up, 5 for 6, 7 RBIs and a homer. That is the East Coast bias right there because the sheet was put together before Neto did that, and I'm a big Zach Neto fan, but that is a miss. I should have highlighted that. Hell of a game for Zach Neto. I don't know if it'll salvage the year necessarily for him. It's been a bit of a tough season, but a hell of a game for him. My home run call for today, as Bubba has mentioned, is going to be Pete Alonso. I'll take him for the weekend here against the Rays. They're in Baltimore. Freddie Peralta tonight, Trey McClanahan tomorrow, and then Nick Martinez. Feels like some really good matchups for Pete Alonso, and I didn't even realize that Bubba actually successfully got the home run on Wednesday. I wouldn't have stolen him if that was
No,
front
it's
of
all
mind
good.
at the time. But yeah, give me a home run. I haven't had a home run here in a while, so I'm going to take it if he gives me one. But if you guys are looking to bet your home runs, you can do so with the help of the Betting Pros home run tool. Lots of cool stuff on there to check out every single day. It gives you the best home runs to bet based on probabilities, data driven from matchups, the stadium, weather conditions. You can check it all out at bettingpros.com/homers. Today, we're seeing Munetaka Murakami at the top. Colton Cowser against Freddie Peralta, and then Esteury Ruiz looking like a huge value. You can get him at plus 1,200 to take Brad Lord deep. Probably worth sprinkling a couple bucks on there at plus 1,200. That's a pretty good number. Yes, it is a bit of a surprise, but 1,200 plus 1,200 is probably worth sprinkling. So make sure you guys are checking it out today. BettingPros.com/homers. That will take us to our best bets. And as we've talked about, and as has been mentioned in the show comments a couple times, we are getting Chris Sale and Jacob Mizrowski today. And I'm leaning all the way into it. We're taking the under 6.5. I'm expecting both of these guys to go 6-7 innings. 6-7. What I hate myself for doing that. But 6 or 7 innings, 0 or 1 earned runs. We're looking at under 6.5. This feels like a pretty good number to get. I was honestly thinking it might even be lower just based on how good these guys have done. You don't usually see it lower than 6.5, but with those two names, I was thinking maybe you get 5.5. 6.5 here, shop it around. I'm getting it at minus 110, but see if you can find it potentially at plus money. That's Sale and Mizrowski, Brewers and Braves under 6.5. Bubba, you're sticking in the PCA market for your best bet of the day.
Yeah, I figure if for some reason he doesn't go deep, I'll take the hits, runs, and RBIs over 3 versus Hancock because he's getting on base. He's scoring runs. He's driving in runs pretty much at a regular clip. So I'll take my chances there at plus 155. It was very intriguing to go. There's a lot of good PCA props if you're in the prop game for tonight. A lot of plus money plays. Now, if he goes 0 for 4, you can just send those comments somewhere else. But PCA looks pretty strong tonight.
BD Entrick on Twitter, everybody.
And I don't have my daughter tonight, so I'll be home just hanging out watching ball. So bring it on.
Oh, man. I got to give my Joe Rico 99. If my bet misses, I want to be tagged. I deserve to be flogged. The Cersei walk of shame. We're going to hit our bets with the help of Betting Pros. But, guys, that will wrap it up for the week. A little bit of an abbreviated week for me because I was here on Monday, but not really here on Monday. But I will be back next Monday with Welsh. It's my only time to talk with Welsh, so there better not be any technical difficulties next week. But it'll be myself and Welsh on Monday. Like I mentioned, that show with Jeff Erickson will be out in your feeds later today, early tomorrow, so make sure you guys are keeping an eye on everything. And that will do it for Casey Bubba. I am Joe Rico. We'll talk to you next time right here on Leading Off, right here on Fantasy Pros. Take it easy, everybody.
Sweet. Yeah, looking forward to that Mizrowski Sale game. I hope it does not disappoint.